Big weekend. Obviously, they all feel big now, being in the SEC, being in a good spot. So I've got a great team coming in. I feel like we're pretty darn good as well. So anxious to see, hopefully, a full Founders Park, rocking and rolling, and seeing us play great baseball. So happy to answer questions.
Hey, Mark, do you have a pitching staff in mind for this weekend yet, or is that something you're just going to wait on to?
No, we're going to go Kimball Jones TBA this weekend.
Can I ask you a quick follow-up?
Sure.
With Jones on Saturday, is that kind of because, I mean, like Hagen Smith's obviously a really good pitcher, but is it kind of to have like a better matchup for Jones on Saturday, or what's kind of the thought process for you?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a few weeks now. Eli has been the pitcher that gives us the most length on the weekends of all our starters, and genuinely you would like to have that in the middle game so that your bullpen can be really good on Friday, have a day off, and then go on Sunday. So it's something we've been talking about. We have a lot of respect for Hagen Smith, but that's not why this decision was made. We made it because we think it's the best use of our resources that hopefully will help us win the most amount of games.
With the Friday spot, then, what have you seen from Roman that makes you feel good about throwing him out there? And did you consider anybody else for that Friday spot?
Yeah, we considered a lot of guys. A lot of guys have shown us bursts that they can do it. But we also have a lot of guys statistically that have been much more successful out of the bullpen, and so we're just trying to find the best roles for the most amount of guys. Roman gets the nod because he has a 169 opponent's batting average, which is the best on our team. He's been the hardest guy to hit on our team, and his last 4 outings have been very good. So we're going with him because we think he gives us a chance to win.
Outside of Jones, I mean, the rotation for the most part, it's kind of been like a little bit of a carousel, right? You had different guys come in and out. Do you feel like this can kind of be like the weekend where guys can actually go out there and really try to solidify their spot moving forward? Or is it one of those things where you just continue to kind of tweak and maneuver as the season goes on?
Yeah, at the end of the day, what's most important is we have all this figured out by the end of the season when the games are win or go home. And so we're going to continue to experiment until we feel like we have it 100%. And I just don't feel like we're there yet. So instead of being scared to staying tied to one thing, we're going to try things and see if we can find the best version of ourselves. And again, that's looking at statistics, and some guys just for whatever reason are better as starters than relievers and vice versa. And so we'll continue to evaluate ourselves. We're 37 games in, so we have a better idea of who we are, but we don't have a full picture yet of what the best version of us is. So we're going to continue to try things until we really feel like we have it exactly where we want it.
With Hagen Smith, obviously he's been tremendous this year. High strikeout, low walk kind of guy. You guys seem to strike out a little bit. How do you manage that, and how confident do you feel in your group getting offensively hot at the right time coming into a weekend like this?
Well, I think last weekend showed what we're capable of. We scored 28 runs on the road at Florida, so I think that shows what we're capable of. Hagen Smith probably will be the first pitcher off the board in this year's Major League Draft, so I look at that as a tremendous challenge, and I think our guys do as well. Paul Skeens came in here last year with all the same notoriety, so I think it's a great challenge. That's why the SEC is so exciting, because you get opportunities to play against the best. He clearly is one of the best, and I think our guys will be excited for the challenge.
With Arkansas's lineup, it's a lot of the same faces from last year with a couple new ones. What do you see there, and kind of how do you feel like your staff stacks up against them?
Statistically, their stats and our stats are pretty close, pretty similar. So I think it's just going to be a matter of who gets the big hit, and obviously we've had moments where we do, we've had moments where we don't. I just think hopefully the home field advantage will really help us, and that's why it's going to be so important to have an electric environment this weekend, and I think we will. So it's two really good teams. Again, we've had really good teams come in here. We've played good teams all year. We've played as many top 25 teams as anybody in the country. Our strength of schedules is as hard as anybody in the country. So we are battle tested already at this point in the season. So it's just another chance to play great baseball and a great conference.
Hey, Coach, could you talk about Dalton Reeves a little bit? He seems to have flipped a switch in these past couple of games. What's working for him?
Well, he's just improved a lot since he got here. He came in, we thought he'd be a nice role player, and that's what he was for the first half of our season. But because of an injury, he got an opportunity, and he's run with it. His defense has improved incredibly. His offense, he hit 12 homers last year, but it was more of a is it going to translate to the SEC play? And he's really cleaned up his swing. He's stronger, I think, than he's ever been, and he's just a good player. And he's a guy that's going to help us win games. He's helped us win games already, and he's going to continue in the future. He's a guy that his teammates root for because he was a great teammate even when he wasn't playing. He worked extremely hard even when he wasn't playing. So he's one of those great stories that you see that if guys just have a great attitude and they keep working, good things can happen for him.
Garrett was telling us post-game Tuesday about kind of adjusting to the closer role after starting most of his career. He mentioned someone stood up in a meeting after the Fall World Series, said he was going to be a high-leverage guy. Do you remember that at all, and how have you seen Garrett grow since the fall?
I don't remember that specifically, but I do know he has, like a lot of the guys on our staff, he's done both. We've got a lot of pitchers on our staff that have started but also have been out of the bullpen. So, again, the key with those guys is you have to figure out when are they at their best. Some guys are great for 30 pitches. Some guys can be great for 60 pitches. Some guys can be great for 100 pitches. And so that's where you try to figure out what's the best way to use guys because you don't want guys having a great 60 pitches and then all of a sudden it looks like a bad outing because of how they pitched after that. So we're still trying to get a feel for what each guy is best at and what their, how much gas they have in the tank for each guy. So with him, again, he's been a very important guy for us. I think he's among the leaders in our league in saves. So he's done a nice job for most of the year. Did a great job the other night. And look, there's nothing saying at some point we don't look at him as a potential starter, just to see if that's a better look because he's done it in the past. So we'll continue to try anything that we think gives us the best chance to go to Omaha.
With Sunday, I know you said it's TBA, but when you're kind of deciding who's going to start that day, what are some of the main things you're obviously looking at? Obviously, it comes down to matchups and stuff, I'm sure, but what are the main things you're kind of looking for from that Sunday spot?
Well, the first thing is who have you not used? We have a lot of resources, the Goods, the Beckers, those type guys. Do you need them to win a game on Friday or Saturday? And if you do, you use them. And if you don't, then they become a candidate to start on Sunday. Pitzer is in that category as well. We've got a lot of swing guys like that can do both. So you decide if the game is in the balance and you want to use one of your best guys, then you do it, and you just know that means somebody else will have to start on Sunday.
Good, Amanda.
You guys have like an overall 4-game win streak right now, not including that Florida 1-game loss. But is there a different vibe in the locker room right now than there was, at the beginning of the season with a little bit of inconsistencies?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we've been fairly consistent in terms of how we go about our business. The vibe in the locker room has been the same all year. We come to work really hard, but we also try to keep it fun so the guys want to come to the ballpark every day, and I don't think that's changed whether we won a lot of games or whether we lost a few games. I think that's been pretty consistent. That's what we want. That's what we continue to strive to have. So I think that part, the guys have been in a pretty good place all year. We've had a good year so far, and we're just looking to take it to that next level to have an elite year.
Why is that possible for you guys to be so even keel?
Well, I think the game demands that, number one. And so I think that comes from the leadership of coaches, of your leaders on your team. It starts in the first day of the fall when we take them out to Fort Jackson. We just say, hey, here's what it takes. There's going to be ups and downs. You have to educate them on the fact that the SEC is a league where you're going to have success and failure. And we need to be able to approach both of them pretty similar so that you don't get trapped into that abyss that you can have in this league. We're seeing national champions really struggle, for multiple years now because the league is so tough. So I think consistency has to start on day one, and you have to try to maintain that as much as you possibly can. All right. Thank you.